Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to discuss something that can be much more painful than a physical affair.
Emotional affairs.
Those are course musings. Here we meet about issues of life and then we make constructive adjustments moving forward. That's the letter I came across. I want us to read that letter and then from there we will dive into the issue. My wife has started emotionally cheating on me with a younger co-worker. She has become more distant and defensive, and even though we spoke about it and she came clean of the situation, she still didn't stop contact with him. She helped him with a family issue, but she has gone in way too deep. So I told her we need to separate so that we could figure a way forward for our marriage of 6 years. And that's when she stopped communicating with him. She admitted she wasn't truly interested in him, but might have gone a tad too emotionally intimate with him. Now I feel cheated on and I'm wondering how we can move forward past that seeming betrayal. The question is, what is an emotional affair? An emotional affair is that affair which excludes to a large extent physical intimacy, but includes almost in all cases emotional intimacy. It can be with anyone you know and see in person, during working hours, recreational hours, school hours, social media. That person can be in church, that person can be at your workplace, that person can be at the gym, that person can be at the mall. And of course, you can find that person on social media. And social media is the number one culprit these days. You call that person, you text that person, you tweet that person, you email that person. Emotional affairs are carried out in secret. It can happen to anybody. And as you watch me right now, you could be in an emotional relationship or are contemplating entering into one. Why do people get into emotional affairs? You can't truly know a person. You can't truly know the depth of a person's soul. It may take a lifetime for even a partner or a spouse to get to know the mystery surrounding their partner's emotions or their essence. It could take forever. Because of this situation, at some point in a long-term relationship, when there's relational lethargy, where both parties in a long-term relationship lack energy and enthusiasm in their relationship, because of all the things that might have gone on in the relationship, the hurts, the pain, the familiarity kind of damps the excitement and the thrill of the relationship. When that happens, a party or both parties tend to feel that they are not receiving what they signed up for. They may feel disappointed, they may feel lied to, they may feel deceived, and they may think that the expectations have not been met. And at some point, they may even feel unloved. Get to that point. When that happens, a partner or both partners become convinced that there could be more out there, more than what their partners are serving them with at the moment. And so they begin to look for emotional connections elsewhere. Now, emotional affairs can ignite feelings that have been dormant in a long-term relationship, so that suddenly you feel that you've been missing out on a lot of excitement because of the seemingly effortless excitement that is at the beginning stages of an emotional affair. The beginning of every emotional affair is thrilling and exciting. Now, here are some signs of an emotional affair in no particular order. The very first sign to tell you that your partner or a partner is having an emotional affair or might be having an emotional affair is when they avoid intimacy. Intimacy is closeness between two people in a personal relationship. It is the willingness to know your partner beyond the superficial attempts, and then your partner also willingly wanting to know you and being known by you. It's a very close connection of vulnerability between two people. So someone having an emotional affair willfully closes or shuts that vulnerability of communication that's brought you people together in the first place. That closeness, they shut it willfully. They will not communicate with you. They will not talk with you. They will not get physical or intimate with you. They shut it out. They close that vulnerable part of themselves. That situation opens up the door for new possibilities of an illicit kind with their newfound friend. Emotional affair, it always starts with how dissatisfied they are with their current spouses, i.e. their wives or their partners. Listen, at some point in any long-term relationship, we all feel spent and dissatisfied with our current partners. And that is why we must willfully decide to communicate. We must willfully keep the doors of communication open so that you can thrash out some of these discomforts of familiarity and just hurts and disappointments. Communication resolve such differences and such problems as and when they arise in every long-term relationship. So by shutting off any possibility of open discussion to resolve any issue at all, you can now discuss those problems with someone outside of your relationship or your marriage. And that feels like a concrete connection of a sort, meeting an emotional need with another person other than your spouse. The next sign tend to typify or symbolize the illicit person. When you're in an emotional affair with someone, you begin to see the negatives and the flaws of your spouse or your partner because you need reasons to continue with the illicit affair. And because of that, what you do is that you magnify what you want to see and are seeing in this newfound friend. I.e., you see them to be more beautiful, more handsome, more accomplished, more polished, more of everything than your spouse or your partner. And all that you are able to deal with the guilt of betraying your partner. Now the next sign is very obvious. You seek approval. Because you shut out intimacy from that one person who's supposed to provide you with intimacy, i.e. your spouse or your partner, you now look for another avenue to fill that void. Usually that new friend fills that false void of intimacy. And you may want to feel that intimacy more and more. So you go out of your way to please them. You find ways to engage with them in order to keep the attraction and attention to yourself. You may do that by paying close attention to your appearance, or you may be giving them undue compliments and just going out of your way to help them just so that you affirm and satisfy their approval for you. You literally court their approval. You court for their attention and their attraction. You want to maintain it to fill that void. It becomes your preoccupation, and your partners will notice it. Motivation is to get them to be tender towards you and accept you. Another sign is that you become their emotional confidant. That is the point anyway. You now begin to share your secrets, and you keep your secrets, your fears, what they will not tell their spouse. Now they begin to tell you, and you also begin to tell them. Basically, you become go-to person when it comes to sharing their deepest emotions and their fears and their feelings. You begin to keep it for them, and you seem to be the only person who actually listens and understands well. And the whole point is that you want to be dependent on the other person. You want them to be the only people who appreciate your emotions and understand your emotions, and to become the only person who provides that very important emotional support. In that process of becoming an emotional confidant, you begin to develop common interests. You find things that you love to do together. This is so that that interest becomes the valid reason why you keep being together. And that unique common interest allows for exclusivity between the two of you. Another sign of someone having an emotional affair or trying to court one is that they do what I call denial of the consequence. They deny the consequence. They play down on the consequence of their actions. You see, what happens is that they now begin to think if the partner was fulfilling a certain need, the partner was doing their job, they wouldn't find themselves in the situation where they are courting another person. And so the partner should understand that they have pushed them to that limit. And now that they have found someone who's more deserving of them, they should understand and allow them to go. They're comfortable in themselves, and they pat themselves at their back and say, you're doing well, you're seeking for your happiness. You deserve to be happy. Your spouse isn't giving the happiness. You found somebody else and it's okay. Then finally, that's the last on my list. Someone who's having an emotional affair deceives him or herself that they are as wonderful as the other person sees them to be. Because after all, they also see them to be wonderful. See, marriage and any long-term relationship, it's like a mirror that reflects the real you. It reflects your flaws, your weaknesses, your habits. Sometimes they get so boring and annoying, and they give you a response in the form of a behavior that is not so pleasant to you. Marriage actually reflects your true shortcomings. But an emotional affair gives a vain reflection of perfection and does not give the true nature and characteristics of another person, because what they tend to do is that they see only the good side of you. So in an emotional affair, we suspend reality, absolutely, because we want to feel good and imagine ourselves as the perfect people in the other person's sight, and vice versa. And that may disappear with time as the relationship goes through the normal motions of life. An emotional affair can be as damaging, even more so damaging than a physical affair, because when you're emotionally involved, you shut out the other person. It's as equally a betrayal of trust as a physical affair. What do you do to guard against emotional affairs? Set boundaries, guard yourself, and know that grass is greener at your feet. You have to work on your relationship. At some point, every relationship gets stale. You have to find your spark, ignite that joy. Because if you leave your spouse today, somebody else may find them attractive. Your spouse leaves you today, somebody else may find you attractive because they have decided to see your good side. They say love is blind.